Self-inquiry number 11. Disciple. Is self-experience possible for the mind, whose nature is constant change? Master. Since Sattva Guna, the constituent of Prakriti which makes for purity, intelligence, is the nature of mind, and since the mind is pure and undefiled like ether, what is called mind is, in truth, of the nature of knowledge. When it stays in that natural, pure state, it has not even the name mind. It is only the erroneous knowledge which mistakes one for another that is called mind. What was originally the pure sattva mind of the nature of pure knowledge forgets its knowledge nature on account of nescience, gets transformed into the word under the influence of tamoguna, that is the constituent of prakriti or nature which makes for dullness, inertness, and being under the influence of rajoguna, that is the constituent of prakriti or nature which makes for activity, passion, imagines I am the body, the word is real. It acquires the consequent merit and demerit through attachment, aversion, and through the residual impressions or vasanas. Thereof it attains birth and death. But the mind, which has got rid of its defilement or sin, through action without attachment, performed in many past lives and this life, listens to the teachings of his scriptures from a true Guru, reflects on its meaning, and meditates in order to gain the natural state of the mental mode of the form of the self, that is, of the form I am Brahman, I am consciousness, which is the result of continued contemplation of Brahman. Thus will be removed the mind's transformation into the word in the aspect of tamoguna and its roving there in the aspect of rajoguna. When this removal takes place, the mind becomes subtle and unmoving. It is only by the mind that is impure and is under the influence of rajas and tamas that reality, that is the true self, which is very subtle and unchanging, cannot be experienced. Just as a piece of fine silk cloth cannot be stitched with a heavy crowbar, or as the details of subtle objects cannot be distinguished by the light of a lamp flame that flickers in the wind, but in the pure mind that has been rendered subtle and unmoving by the meditation described above, the self-bliss that is Brahman will become manifest. As without mind there cannot be experience, it is possible for the purified mind endowed with the extremely subtle mode, vritti, to experience the self-bliss by remaining in that form, that is in the form of Brahman. Then that oneself is of the nature of Brahman will be clearly experienced. Self-inquiry number 12. Disciple. Is the aforesaid self-experience possible even in the state of empirical existence for the mind which has to perform functions in accordance with its prarabdha, the past karma which has begun to fructify? Master. A Brahmin may play various parts in a drama. The thought that he is a Brahmin does not leave his mind. Similarly, when one is engaged in various empirical acts, there should be the firm conviction, I am the self, without allowing the false idea, I am the body, to rise. If the mind should stray away from its state, then immediately one should inquire, oh, we are not the body, etc. Who are we? And thus one should reinstate the mind in that pure state. The inquiry, who am I, is the principal means to the removal of all misery and the attainment of the supreme bliss. When in this manner the mind becomes quiescent in its own state, self-experience arises of its own accord without any hindrance. Thereafter, sensory pleasures and pains will not affect the mind. All phenomena will appear then without attachment, like a dream. Never forgetting one's plenary self-experience is real bhakti, devotion, yoga or mind control, and jnana or knowledge, and all other austerities. Thus say the sages. Self-inquiry number 13. Disciple. When there is activity in regards to works, we are neither the agent of those works nor their enjoyers. The activities of the three instruments, that is the mind, speech, and body. Could we remain unattached thinking thus? Master. After the mind has been made to stay in the self, which is its deity, and has been rendered indifferent to empirical matters because it does not stray away from the self, how can the mind think as mentioned above? Do not such thoughts constitute bondage? When such thoughts arise due to residual impressions or vasanas, one should restrain the mind from flowing that way. Endeavor to retain it in the self state and make it turn indifferent to empirical matters. One should not give room in the mind for such thoughts as, is this good or is that good? Can this be done or can that be done? One should be vigilant even before such thoughts arise and make the mind stay in its native state. If any little room is given, such a disturbed mind will do harm to us while posing as our friend. Like the foe appearing to be a friend, it will topple us down. Is it not because one forgets oneself that such thoughts arise and cause more and more evil? While it is true that to think through discrimination, I do not do anything, all actions are performed by the instruments, is a means to prevent the mind from flowing along thought vasanas. Does it not also follow that only if the mind flows along thought vasanas that it must be restrained through discrimination as stated before? Can the mind that remains in the self-state think as I and as I behave empirically thus and thus? In all manner of ways possible, one should endeavor gradually not to forget one's true self, that is God. If that is accomplished, all will be accomplished. The mind should not be directed to any other matter. Even though one may perform like a mad person the actions that are the result of prarabdha karma, one should retain the mind in the self state without letting the thought I do arise. Have not countless bhaktas or devotees performed their numerous empirical functions with an attitude of indifference? Self-inquiry number 14. Disciple. What is the real purpose of sannyasa or renunciation? Master. Sannyasa is only the renunciation of the I thought and not the rejection of the external objects. He who has renounced the I thought thus remains the same whether he is alone or in the midst of the extensive samsara empirical world. Just as when the mind is concentrated on some object, it does not observe other things even though they may be proximate. So also, although the sage may perform any number of empirical acts, in reality he performs nothing because he makes the mind rest in the self without letting the I thought arise. Even as in a dream, one appears to fall head downwards, while in reality one is unmoving, so also the ignorant person That is, the person for whom the I thought has not ceased, although he remains alone in constant meditation, is in fact one who performs all empirical actions, as the wise ones have said. Self inquiry number 15. Disciple. The mind, sense organs, etc., have the ability to perceive, yet why are they regarded as perceived objects? Master. Knower and the known object. Drik and the drishya. Knower. The seer is the knower. Known object is like pot. The eye organ is the knower, and the known object is the body or pot or something as an object. The sense of sight is the knower, and the object becomes eye organ. The mind becomes the knower, and the sense of sight becomes the object. The individual soul is the knower of this mind, and the consciousness or the true self is the knower of the individual soul. As shown in the above scheme, since we, the consciousness, know all objects, we are to be the knower or the drik. The categories including pot, etc., are the objects, since they are what are known. In the table of knowledge, ignorance, knower, known, given above, among the knowers and the object of knowledge, it is seen that one is knower in relation to another. Yet, since that one is object in relation to another, none of those categories in reality are the knower. Although we are said to be the knower because we know all, and not the known because we are not known by anything else, we are said to be the knower only in relation to the known objects. In truth, however, what is called the known is not apart from us, and so we are the reality that transcends those two, the knower and the known. All the others fall within the knower-known categories.
Arunachala Shiva.